We gonna get to my dog, JD. JD was on Joe Budden podcast, and he spoke about the Chris Brown versus Usher conversation. Who would win in the verses? Who has the better albums, or songs? And JD said that if he linked up with Chris Brown, then he could potentially help create an album that was not only better than Confessions but rivaled Thriller. Thought that was
Nasty.
him tooting his horn a little bit too crazy, even though JD is that guy. But he was gassing it a little bit, in my opinion. How do y'all feel about that? Go ahead, Kenya.
I I love, Chris Brown's earlier work, his earlier stuff. To me personally, everything started sounding the same somewhere down the line. Usher can't really like say the same for, and I just think that that's like really crazy to say because I think Usher is better than Chris Brown. So I just feel like that's like a crazy sentiment. Sorry.
But
I,
what JD said was the majority of those songs that Usher has, he wrote. So
Okay.
I think he's saying that what it sounded
If
like
he
to me.
if,
I don't
if
know.
he
If I
wrote
was
for
Usher, I don't
Chris,
want to hear that. I don't want
he's
that nigga to be
saying
saying that
what?
shit.
If he wrote for Chris Brown, that Chris Brown would be better than Usher?
Yes, he can. Basic in my
Which
how
is
I heard it.
inherently to say that he thinks that Chris Brown is better than Usher. Because if he's saying, if I wrote for both, but if I write for this one, you'll be better than that one.
That's how I heard it, and I wouldn't
no,
want to
I
Yeah,
hear
think
that.
he's,
that's
I think
crazy.
He just
he's, I
said that
just think
nigga
he's
need
saying
my
that the
help.
gap. No, I just think he's saying that the gap is all like Chris has been doing basically right because Chris is a songwriter. He's been writing his own stuff essentially, right? The gap ain't that crazy, right? Like Usher's still Usher. He's legendary. He can retire today, never do another, make another song, and he's still going to be Usher, right? One of the greatest vocalists and performers of our time. But Chris is right there in that conversation too. But he don't have, like Jermaine Dupri is right. Like he don't have that JD album. He don't have that JD buzz that I carry. So yes, if the gap ain't that crazy and I write for him, then hell yeah, why not? Like
Yeah,
why
I don't
wouldn't
think.
he?
I think he's saying that there is no gap. Chris Brown is better, and I could prove it by writing for him. That's what it came out. If I
That's
was
a that's
Usher
a
spitting
lens
back,
thing.
Yeah, that's
That's a
how I
if I was
lens
interpret it
sitting
thing
too.
back
to
Hmm.
drinking
me.
some cognac and I heard that, and as Usher, I would be like, "Hey, fam, like
Oh,
what
but
what we
that's
talking
not
about?"
true. Only because he's saying if he wrote for Chris, he'd be better than Usher. He wouldn't say he didn't say he would be as good as. He said better, meaning to say that he thinks inherently Chris is
Yeah.
better.
And I'm gonna say something real quick because listen, I actually started watching this particular part of the pod, this interview today, just because I wanted to catch up on it. I have words for Jermaine, uh, Demetrius Dupri.
Is
Jermaine,
his name Demetrius for real?
I don't know, but I'm calling him that today. Jermaine Demetrius Dupri. Listen, sir, you are him, but do not ever get it twisted about who Usher is either, because what I took as a Usher stan as well as a Chris Brown stan, you acting like you're the sauce. Usher was Usher before he started working with you, nigga, in that way. Like, let's not, like, not too much, Mr. Short
Yeah,
Stuff.
it's just too
Okay.
much on
Cause what
Usher.
I'm gauging, I'm trying to read in between the lines and shot. It almost gives, it don't matter who it is. I'll create a confessions,
Right,
whether it's Usher or
right.
Chris. And
But
not even not that I'll even create Usher. I'll make it a thriller because I'm the secret sauce, not the talent.
Johnny, but
I
you can.
get it, and he is, but calm your boots, buddy.
But Johnny, but
Stop it.
I can understand why he would feel like that, right? Like Quincy Jones feels like that. Like if you ever hear Quincy Jones talk, like yes, they sung it, I wrote it and
He knew the
produced it
magic of
though.
Michael, though.
Yeah, I
No,
composed
he
it.
knew the magic of
No,
Michael, though.
I know that. But what
He
I'm
never
saying
played on
is,
Michael's head top ever.
but I don't think Jermaine is playing on Usher's top. I think Jermaine is saying Usher, that's Usher's album and that's his opus and it's great. It's legendary. I feel like, and I had a part in that, right? Because I produced and wrote and composed a lot of that. But I'm looking
But
at
you
this
don't get
other.
a
I'm looking,
Confessions without Usher, and you don't get a Thriller without
but you
Mike.
also
And
don't
that's
get a
and that's
Christians
where but that's
without.
where these
But you
writers
you don't get a
yeah,
thriller without
exactly. But
Quincy Jones
nobody is
either.
saying that.
But you
But
don't get thriller without
Portland,
Quincy Jones.
Exactly. That's
in
the
my
point.
opinion,
That's the
right?
point. He's eliminating the others. The others are not. They're not eliminating the people that helped. The people that helped are the ones that are trying to eliminate the talent and saying, I could do it again. Well, then do it again. And why haven't you? You ain't did it again. You
Ain't
ain't
did
did
it
another
since,
Confessions.
but
You ain't
right,
did no Thriller.
exactly.
You ain't did it since. So what are you talking about?
But
Like
maybe
the
he feels
last
like
time
he
when you tried to
can.
get into your R&B bag is you did that division bullshit and stop it. Like you still on that. If I get caught cheating, you're on that. Like no
In
nigga,
my opinion, right?
stop.
It sounds like that to make a comparison. It sounds like a Phil Jackson saying, "Yeah, Jordan was nice, but if it wasn't for that triangle,
I
like,
make another
nigga,
Jordan.
no, it's
Well, he
not.
did make another Jordan. He did.
He can't take credit for Kobe
Who?
either.
Kobe.
That's what we
Kobe.
saying.
Who?
Kobe. Yes, he
He
can.
can't
Who?
take
Okay,
credit for
so
that
okay, okay,
either.
okay, okay. Hold on. Cortland, please don't go down this hallway because I already know y'all can get in y'all bag, but I've never heard people say that Kobe was better than Jordan. I've not heard
Yeah, and
that.
so like for that,
Yeah.
in my
Well,
So he
you're not
didn't
in
make
the.
another
You're
Jordan.
not in the. You're not in the
yeah
circles I'm in.
No,
People say it.
I'm not hearing no. There's a man that just
yeah,
said it.
I
What are you
don't think
talking about?
that
Who's
those haven't
calling?
been the
Like, what are you
conversations.
I
talking
say it
about?
all the
But
time.
yeah,
Yeah, per preference, but y'all be talking about
No,
LeBron
people
and
be
Jordan more
saying
than y'all
no.
said
People
Kobe
be
and
look,
saying
Jordan.
Portland,
Kobe
Portland want
is.
to get in the sports
Cortland, I don't
bag
want to
so
go.
bad. No, we're not going down that route. We're not going down that route. I just making a
But yeah,
comparison.
we not.
But
We
I
not.
don't.
We
But
not.
for
But
me, I don't think that JD can take credit for. Now does he have the sauce? Yes, he's had Jagged Edge. He's wrote amazing songs, right? Didn't he write that? What was the other group? Did he write a 112 song? That Jagged Edge was
He
mad
wrote
about.
for Escape. He wrote for Escape. He wrote for Founded, Escape, the Brat, Bow
Yeah, so he
Wow,
does have the sauce, but
Crisscross. You know, he does.
legendary
He's
talent,
him.
because these guys aren't average niggas, right? And so that's where it comes to, if you could do it, then why haven't you done it? And you can't do it to that level without these legendary niggas who can dance and who can sing at an extraordinary level, that's not normal. And so for him to sit up there and toot his
Exactly.
own horn
Exactly.
as if I can create these legendary acts. No, these niggas was singing and dancing their ass off, well, before they ever met a JD. Now, did you help cultivate that with Usher? Of course. But you trying to take full credit, because he made it a point to say, well, I wrote all those songs, so it'll be going against myself, and I ain't going
Yeah,
against
but and
myself.
you
It's
know,
like, come on.
but you know what? But you know what the problem is that again he had because I heard him on the pod and it was just like I've done what I was the one I was like he's very cocky, very arrogant. He has those things because in his story he feels like he hasn't been given the just due that he's earned, and he might have points there. However, let's not get crazy and act like Usher and Chris Brown are not once in a lifetime type talents, meaning like, we have not seen somebody that can sing and dance to the level that Michael did other than Usher until Chris Brown. You get what I'm saying? So those two, I don't think that's the disrespectful point. It is JD thinking, oh, this is just a warehouse thing. I could just pump these out and create another Confessions. No, Confessions was a couple of things. It was JD's writing. It was the timing of Usher's life. It was him coming off the tail end of him and Chili's relationship. It was like a perfect storm. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people try to act like, oh, Confessions is Confessions, because no, Confessions, as somebody that was outside and that love Usher, Usher was also a heartthrob. He was at that point, had just got out of a relationship with Chili. Like everybody kind of had like, ooh, is Usher the one with the cheating in LA? Was he cheating on Chili? Like we had just heard You Got It Bad. Like what's going on? So there's a lot of that kind of like shock and awe that comes with the music as well as it being good. So for him to act like he's the only thing that created that, no, there's a lot of elements that created the perfect storm of Confessions at that time being what it was. And trust me, if niggas knew, which is why he kept it a secret so long, that song was written by him about something that wasn't him and it was somebody else. Trust me. Trust me. Niggas thought that was Usher's story for years.
Go.
Every time I was in LA, I was with my ex-girlfriend. We thought that was Chili.
Yeah.
Or we thought that was
Yeah, that
somebody
was a
else. Like, stop it.
nasty intro. I'm not going to lie. Told on himself. Go ahead,
yeah,
Kyra.
that shit
What
was a
happened?
wild.
He
That
was a
was a
liar
wild
alive.
thing.
This nigga exposed
But here's my
himself.
thing too. I
Hold on,
Listen.
think
wait, Portland.
Breezy
Let
and
Kyra go real quick. Kyra, what's the word? How you feeling?
Good. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am. How
Okay.
you doing?
I'm good. How you doing today, Rashad? Drink
Another day.
like that coffee? Uh, um, So Jermaine Dupri makes my ass itch. Like, he really makes my ass itch. Yeah, he, as a great producer and songwriter as he is, and as cocky as he should be, because nobody's trying to take that away from you, you will never be able to make another Thriller. Nobody will ever be able to create an album as great, as sonically great, as writing great. Like, and I'm not even a Thriller fan. I'm an off the wall fan, but I understand the impact of Thriller, right? So it just goes back to what Jonay was telling Cortland. Thriller couldn't have been made without Michael Jackson. Prince couldn't have made Thriller. If Quincy Jones and Prince got together and tried to make Thriller, it wouldn't have happened. Like, point blank period. It just wouldn't have happened. Now, for him to sit up here and say that he can make an album with Chris Brown that's better than Confessions, Confessions is literally in the top 10 R&B albums, where it's a diamond album, for one. For two, it's one of the greatest R&B albums to ever be made.
One of the greatest albums.
I'm just sticking it to R&B because we can go on and on about what's the greatest album. That's not my point. You cannot replicate that with Chris Brown, because Chris Brown and Usher are, to me, I hate when people compare the two, because they're not on the same level to me. They're just not. They're not even peers. So when it comes to albums and stuff like that, like, Jermaine Dupri has to understand, yes, you did it with Bow Wow. Yes, you did it with Mariah Carey. Yes, you did it with Usher. You did it with people who are at a certain level. Chris Brown also did it with people at a certain level, because he has songs written, like 7th Streeter was writing Chris Brown's biggest hits. Like, we have to understand that Chris Brown, he's not a slump here. He don't need Jermaine Dupri's help. Like, it basically sounded like Jermaine Dupri was saying, Chris Brown needs my help to be better than what he is. He don't need your help. He just doesn't. Like,
I ain't gonna lie, it sounded like, hey Chris, please work with me. Because JD putting out that Atlanta
that,
album and shit kinda mid. Not gonna
exactly.
lie.
And that's why that's why.
Cause ain't we still waiting on Confessions Part 2? Allegedly, that's what that last Usher album was supposed to be. It was
It was
Confessions Part 2. Let's not
Yeah.
forget.
it was
I
supposed
didn't
to be,
forget.
but Usher said that he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to live up. He didn't want to live up to what Confessions was. Because it's the same thing. Like, Ice made a great point. When you say something is a 2 or 3 to the first album, you have to keep living up to that. Like, we all look at Blueprint 2 like, because Blueprint 1 was so good. But you don't want to mess that up. I think Jermaine Dupri's head is so fucking big for that little ass body of his, that he really just thinks that he did everything on his own. Emancipation of Mimi couldn't have been done. It wouldn't have worked without Mariah Carey, who was fucking writing and producing the songs on that album. It wouldn't have worked without Brian Michael Cox. It wouldn't have worked without John T. Austin. Like, what are we doing here? You didn't make these songs on your own. Like,
So I got a question. I got a question for y'all. In this era of where R&B is not up to par like usual, like back in the day, do you think that a modern artist could create a Thriller level
no,
album and cultural impact?
no. I
No,
just said
If
no.
anybody
nobody
could
can
do it,
create
it
a
would be
Thriller
Jay-Z.
album. No, he can't.
If
Hold
anybody
on, wait, go
could
No,
Can,
do
ahead.
it,
he
can
it
Go
I
would
can't.
ahead,
say
be
go and then
something too
Cortland.
though?
Corbin,
Okay,
who'd you
I want to
say
say
again?
this. I want to say this though, and there's a couple of reasons I love music talks, and I'm glad this kind of shifted here, Rashad. So, 2 reasons. Musically, people don't play live music anymore. There's no real instrumentation. The sonics are not the same. The business is not the same. The creativity, the artistry, the passion, the soul is not the same. That's it. That's a big, big, big part. But there is a part to fandom that is also not the same, right? You have so many hate listeners of things today than before. See, back in those days when a Thriller came out, if you was more Prince than Mike, you just didn't listen. You wasn't sitting there listening to Michael to talk shit and create this divisiveness about what it's like. There were actual people that were, critical or critics, and they listened to it for the to pick it apart from a music professional, which is why the Siskel and Eberts of the music, of the movie era, they kind of had so many, had such a impact because it was like, okay, they could either go very left or very right, but it was necessary because we needed to know like a critical and fair, review. Nowadays with the stan and fan culture, it's like shit can't even get to a place of valid acclaim because you have so many people that are willing to hate on it, talk about it, ain't shit, this, that, that, that. It becomes kind of like everything is soured. You get what I'm saying, Rashad? Before it has the time to bubble up to a Thriller level where everybody is like, oh, this is so, because you already know with certain people with that listen to music, it's like they'll want to be the oddball to say, I didn't like it and it
Yeah,
was
I
a great
hate that
album.
shit. And we living in that.
It's like, I don't like it. And
But
it's like, you know that that's decent music. But again, it's that. And then, so I'm just saying it's a twofold because the fandom of music goes hand in hand with its success and its acclaim. Like that, we can't take one from the other because there's plenty of great music that no one has ever really heard of that probably should have more acclaim, but it just didn't catch the buzz with the
AKA
fan
that
base,
K
right?
Camp album that just dropped. I just listened back to it last night. Amazing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cortland.
That's a good point. Yeah.
yeah, nah, I think if anybody, I'm just talking musically. Like everything Jonae said is correct. Couldn't agree more. But just musically, like the track listing for Thriller, that's one of my favorite albums ever. And like the track listing for that album, his A sides was just as good as side two, right? And I think if anybody could do it, it would be a Chris Brown that could do it. Like 11:11, I'm not saying like acclaim wise, it's close, but like I'm seeing him now start to curate music where it's like, okay, you're entering a era in life where like music is starting to slow down for you. You know what I'm saying? Like the game is starting to like really be like, you ain't putting out, Heartbreak on the Full Moon, 120 track albums, right? Like this is, so if he just got with a producer like Mike had, right? That was like Quincy Jones, where it's like, we gonna curate this album to where it makes sense, it's cohesive, and it fits you. And then let's talk about like Thriller had the music videos. He had Beat It. He had Thriller as a music for the music videos of Thriller, Billie Jean. Mike can like Chris Brown can make videos. Like, you know what I mean? He's dropped videos and people like his videos, like his music videos. He makes great music videos as well. So like, and that's part of the Thriller hype. So I think if anybody could do it, it'd be Chris Brown, but he
I
would
think
need to
Chris
get with a
Brown
producer.
is so talented, right? It's very, very difficult for him to really hone in and make something concise and direct because he just seems like a nigga who just, what they say back in the day, got ants in your pants. Like he just be wanting to do a whole lot of shit, and he's
But
very
that's why you
talented
get
at a
with a
lot of shit,
producer.
but it's
That's where the
difficult.
producer comes in. That's where the producer comes in. Because Quincy Jones talks about that with him and Mike. Mike was the same way. Mike wanted to do a whole lot of stuff, and they had to reel Mike in a lot of times. So like, you have to give it that producer that says, "Hey man, look, that's cool and all, but not that one. Like, let's save that for later."
But if you know Chris for real, Chris does have a certain like Bam. I don't know if y'all familiar with some of his producers that he's worked with. Chris is one of them people that I fuck with the long way, not only because I love his music, but he is one of them that give the consistent, maybe the normal producer that you don't hear a lot about. He'll give them a huge break on his albums and he'll do it consistently. He don't gotta go to the big names with the big features and the big Pharrells. He'll sit there and give a dude like Bam, who's, from out where I'm from, and give him, placement after placement after placement after placement on mad albums until he gains and garners a name, because Chris is about the music. So it's like, yeah, I agree with you. I'm just giving a little bit of extra.
Go
Yeah, yeah.
ahead.
And then the
Hold on,
thing
wait,
about
Cortland.
Chris is,
Let's get dude in there, and then Big V he dropped. Go
fuck
ahead, dude.
dude.
How you feeling today? What's the word? Then we got Kyra.
First, first of all, I don't know why Twitter kicked me out as soon as you said the word K Camp. Twitter said, "No, you don't belong here." So,
That's nasty. That shit
um,
was lit. I ain't
it's
gonna lie. I listened
crazy
last
as fuck.
night.
I ain't gonna hold you. I think Chris Brown is an incredibly talented young man, and young man being relative, of course. I think he's incredibly talented. I think he can do a lot of things. I think the most salient point I've heard today is that no one will ever be able to reproduce what Michael Jackson did. That's never going to be a possibility. No one thinks the way that man did. No one was on the same level of interpersonal relationship with other stars as that man was. It's just, there's so many things that he could get away with that people just cannot do anymore. Um, I think it's unfair every time we compare an Usher or a Chris Brown to Michael Jackson because neither of them have ever had the opportunity to be anything like a Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's been making music since he was 5 years old. Neither one of them had a record out at 5 years old. Neither one of them had a fan base growing and brewing in their hometowns when they were in kindergarten first through 12th, then also being put on the main stage of major shows the entirety of that time. Both Chris Brown and Usher had albums out when they were teenagers. One of them, I'm sure you never heard that first album when he was a teenager. The other one, we got to know him as a teenager. Like, they're incredibly talented. Chris Brown can do a lot of things. I don't know if he would be saving. I'm not going to say saving because I don't think anyone else said that. I don't think he would be, I'm going to say it. I don't think he would be saving a JD in any way. I think JD really just wants to work with him. I think that would, for JD, that falls in line with the type of shit he's always done. If Chris Brown is the type of artist he's always reached out to. It's always some younger nigga who's got a bunch of talent that hasn't been pushed to its fullest potential yet. And that's what he's looking at when he's looking at Chris. I think JD would do things with Chris Brown no other producer can think to do because JD's been doing things across so many different genres for most of these niggas'
I ain't gonna
lives.
lie, dude. That's a lot of audacity. If JD
It
feels
is.
that way, that's a lot of
It
audacity.
is. It is. I didn't say it wasn't. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that's what he thinks.
Go ahead, Kyra, and then we got your name.
So again, you want to know why artists can't make a Thriller? It's because we don't have the producers or the composers as great as Quincy Jones anymore. That's literally all it is. People are fucking lazy. And again, that's not to sit up here and say that, scratch all of that. Nobody should be wanting to make a Thriller. Period. Like, what happened to the artists or the producers who want to make something better than Thriller or close to Thriller? You should never want to sit up here and, I've never heard Beyonce say, oh, I want to make a Thriller. Oh, I want to, like, no, she wants to do something that's bigger and fucking better. Even though Beyonce doesn't have an album that's better than Thriller, but you can sit up here and say, hey, this album is great. This album is great. Like, no, we have to stop this. Like, at some point, we have to sit up here and say, you're never, ever, 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 ever in the entirety of life going to get an album that's better than Thriller, Off the Wall, or Bad. Period. You're just not. From whoever. I don't care who it is. It can be Chris Brown, Usher, fucking Jeremiah. I don't give a damn who you work with.
Bobby V.
You're not Bobby V. It can be Bobby Brown. I don't give a damn. You're not getting it. You ain't. Quincy Jones, listen, Quincy Jones knew what he was doing when he got in that studio. He knew what he was doing. I'm just saying. He knew it. He said, hey, Mike, we gonna do it this way. This way. Mike said, I like this better. No, we gonna do it this way because it's gonna sound a lot better if we do it like this.
Listen, I got
You,
faith.
like, it ain't gonna happen. It's just not, it's not gonna happen. Nobody is ever going to be able to make a Thriller. Point blank.
Hey, man, get me in the studio with JD, man. I got faith in myself. Fuck y'all talking
You
about.
gonna say,
Let's get to it.
only
Yeah,
thing,
you are the only one.
Let's get to it.
right.
Go ahead, Joe Day, then we got Patience.
I'm really quick right now. This is me listening. Y'all gotta let me do this because so I think I can speak for his mindset a little tad bit, okay? I'm gonna tell you right now. You know what Chris is saying? Now mind you, Taurus, we don't hold a grudge, but we do remember. Never forget y'all niggas. Where your ass was at when they was sitting there doing all that weird shit on my name. Now you want to work with me, nigga? Now that I done made it through the fire, fuck you. I don't want nothing to do with you. That's some Taurus shit. You hear me? So I think Chris is one of them like principled and moral type artists where he's like, JD, you cool, but nigga, when they had me out here about to be completely out of here as a young nigga, when I made a mistake and early in my career, none of y'all niggas took me under y'all wing and make sure I was protected and said, nah, we ain't gonna risk this one. He's ours. We're not gonna make sure. No, y'all was okay and turned a blind eye and y'all didn't even try to, nurture me or mentor me or try to get me on the same track. I had to come out, get it out the mud with me and my fans. So fuck you. I feel like some of that is on there too. I don't think he even really cares too much about the industry and all of these whatever industry producers.